wonder if you can disable that.
I know that like only started like a month or two ago,
Yeah, I
I feel
know.
like. Yeah.
Really upset me the first time because I'm a very delicate interviewer. I get put off quickly. No, I don't.
Right.
Um, Tony Thaxton he is here. No, let me start that again. Tony Thaxton is here. Hi, Tony.
Hello. It's true. I'm here. Well, I'm not there, but I'm here.
Yeah, you are here in
Yes.
spirit. Are you a 30 Rock fan?
Uh extremely casually.
Oh, okay.
it's weird. It should be right up my alley, but for some reason I never watched all of them. I'm not sure why.
I watched all of them, but I was late to the game. I didn't know what was happening.
Hmm.
Um, I've sort of been burnt by the SNL crew's ancillary output in a lot
Hmm.
of the very bad movies.
Hmm.
So when I heard Tina Fey was doing a sitcom, I thought probably not for me. But anyway, so this will probably really embarrass me, but I'm going to do anyway because people love having fun with your name. So I'm going to have a bit
Yes,
of
they
fun with
do.
this. Here we go. So it goes. I wonder if you know this reference. Get yourself a drummer, do some audio editing, gets himself a podcast. You got Tony Thaxton. That means nothing to you, right?
It seems vaguely familiar,
How about
but
cheesy blasters? The cheesy blasters thing that they do.
no, I'm sorry.
That's all right, mate. We had fun with that. Bizarre Albums is the podcast, and gosh, you put a lot of work into it. You're probably going to agree with me right now.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, but it's work that I thoroughly enjoy. So,
At what point did you decide it was going to be like a professional presentation as opposed to a casual chat with the listeners?
that was kind of more or less the thought process all along. Because I just sort of found myself the research that I ended up doing for the show was kind of just something I was doing with my spare time anyways,
Hmm.
and then I would find out these weird little facts about these records or something, and then I would text my music nerd friends, be like, can you believe so and so played on this record? And so it kind of just went from there, and then there were a few like documentaries and other podcasts that I kind of liked the structure of it, almost like, kind of sort of documentary style, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I just felt like that was the approach that I wanted to take. I just feel like there's so much snarky stuff out there making fun of things and everything, and I didn't really want to go that route.
You've got minimal snark. You can hear a little bit of on a
Yeah,
couple of
every
things.
now and then I can't help myself. Yeah.
Of course, you're only human, even though you are a rock star. Uh, can you tell the difference when you pick an album between straight away between just a cash grab, um, a type of mental breakdown, that's the third category, or someone who's honestly trying to put out good content? You know,
Yeah, sometimes. They're really all over the place though, because like sometimes before I hear them, like I'll
hmm.
see like that Clint Eastwood had a record in the '60s, and I'm like, what? That can't be right. And then I was fully expecting it to be terrible, and while it's not my cup of tea, uh, it was better than I expected it to be. Like his voice and everything was better. So yeah, it's hard. You definitely can't judge ahead of time, but sometimes you'll start listening. I'll start going through, and yeah, you can tell the difference between some of those. I like to think so, anyways. I think every now and then people are genuinely trying and not necessarily doing so great.
Donny Most. Donny
Yeah,
Most. You can't say he's not trying.
yeah. There's definitely some people trying out there that did not succeed with their attempt, but hey, at least
And
they tried.
there's a lot in the cash grab
Oh yeah,
basket, though, isn't there?
oh yeah. Especially in the '80s, like '70s and '80s in particular. I feel like anybody that was like remotely famous, it seemed like, got an opportunity to make a record.
Yeah, Hulk
Yeah,
Hogan. I mean, he was very, very famous, but he still did an album.
yeah.
It seems weird. But anyway, look, he probably had an afternoon free. And that's all it would have taken, I think, for that one.
Yeah, and he supposedly had a background in music, but then did this rap album. I'm doing air quotes to
Yeah, sure.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I question his there's all these claims of him having a music background and playing bass in bands and stuff.
Mm.
And I have a little bit of a hesitation toward fully believing it was as serious as it was because there seems to be a lack of evidence out there. Because a lot of these things I'll start looking into and I'll be able to find old videos or at least some old pictures of somebody playing in a band or whatever. I think I found a band photo, like just posed and
Mm.
nobody's holding instruments or anything. But beyond that, I've never really seen photos of him playing, and he's claimed that he was a session musician at one, and I find that very hard to believe. But
Well, I
yeah.
don't know. Often when people are good at one thing, they're good at another thing. I mean, just look at yourself. Are you good at a third thing? Audio
I
editing. There you go. There's three.
You're very kind. You're very kind.
Well, look, you do a lot of it, and it must be good. Proof's in the pudding. The Kurt Russell one, I'm still disturbed by. I don't know why that one upset me so much.
Yeah.
It just seemed, I don't know, I just got lost in everything to do with that
Yeah.
one.
That definitely seems like a cash grab one. Although again, that one was a little bit better than I thought it was gonna be. I'm not saying I thought it was great, but it was better than I thought. And weirdly, I didn't really talk about this in the episode, but I have a friend of mine. His dad used to years and years ago when they were still kids, occasionally appear in some movies with Kurt Russell, and he knew him at the time that he made that record, and I was a little bit skeptical that it was actually him singing on it, and according to my friend's father, it's really him singing.
Oh,
So
you can do a lot in a studio. You know that better than anyone.
true, but not as much back then though.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. Buster Poindexter, I think, falls neatly into the mental breakdown category for me. Anyway, you don't have to jump on that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what to think of that. Uh, it's definitely a weird project. And as a kid, I remember when that record came out, and that was my first exposure to David Johansen. And then
Yeah,
so
me.
later, as I got a little older, when I was a teenager or something, then I saw something on TV showing old New York Dolls footage, and I was like, wait a minute, that's Buster Poindexter.
Buster Poindexter. It's
Yeah.
not David. And his stuff with the his stuff with the New York Dolls, very, very good. You would think he would want to continue. He did continue doing similar sort of stuff, and then he just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It seemed like it seemed like he was doing it out of place of trying to have fun though. Like it seemed like he was enjoying doing that though. It
Hey,
didn't seem like it was necessarily supposed to be taken too seriously, and it was, just supposed to be kind of a character, and that's the impression I get anyways.
he's a fun guy.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, this episode I missed. Look, Tony, I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I'm going to miss the occasional
I understand.
episode. But the Bizarre Singles, Prince and Bat Dance, Scott
Yeah.
Ackerman's favorite song. Did you know?
That's what I hear. I don't fully believe him when he says that, but
I think he's very serious. Um, as a musician, what do you think about that song? Does it deserve its place on MTV and all the other screens I caught it on that for that few weeks?
man, it's funny. It's definitely strange. I as a kid when that came out, I enjoyed it, but literally I think only because it was Batman. Because I like when that came out, I was all about that Batman movie.
Yeah.
So like anything related to it, I was just eating up. To revisit it now, it's very strange. There's cool songs on that soundtrack that he did because he did
Hmm.
the entire soundtrack, but not the score, but the music part. And yeah, that it's weird. Not particularly a fan. It's not
Do
something I'm going to
you
sit around and listen to.
do you ever do you remember another Prince song where he just went back to a constant loop, like boom doom 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 doom? I mean, that's basically the whole thing.
Right? Yeah, for a while. And it completely changes at one part though. It like
Oh,
completely
yeah,
like almost it's almost like two songs in one. But yeah, it's weird.
we'll just chat a little bit more about episodes and stuff you already know, but people may not know your work, and it might sound intriguing. That's the idea, promoting this fantastic
Yeah,
podcast.
thank you. Unfortunately, I feel like I've done so many now, and I do them every week that I feel like when I first did the first several episodes, I kept all that information in my head and was able to like, oh yeah, this guy produced that, and now I've done so many. Everything blurs together now, so I feel like some of these you bring up, but I want to be able to pull out some good facts, and I
No, it
just
doesn't matter. You'll definitely
yeah,
remember this one: Bad Religion Christmas songs.
mm-hmm,
Um,
yeah.
I didn't think that was too bad.
No,
I
it's
thought
kind of
that was all
fun.
right. I like
Yeah,
Bad Religion when Bad Religion were a big thing. I didn't go
yeah.
on to follow all of their career, which is probably my bad. But I thought it was a good one. Thought their hearts were in the right places.
Yeah,
What
for
do you
sure.
think?
Yeah, absolutely. And they were having fun with it, and again, not necessarily taking it too seriously, but at the same time, wanting it to sound good and be good, and cool arrangements and everything. Um, and it's really fun. It sounds like exactly what it is. It sounds like Bad Religion doing Christmas songs, which is a strange combination. I remember when I heard that was coming out, it's like, what? That doesn't seem like a real thing. And yeah, that was one of those records that when I first started doing the show, it was on my short list at first. It took me a bit to get there, but that was definitely on my list immediately to cover on the show.
Yeah, a couple more really fun ones are Ethel Merman,
Mm-hmm.
the Ethel Merman disco album, and Ethel Merman loomed pretty large in my childhood
Oh
because
yeah,
she was just like a middle aged lady, and then she would bust out into this really strong voice with the really
yeah.
good vibrato,
Mm-hmm.
and often for comedy value at school, I would bust into an Ethel Merman. But people sometimes hadn't listened to watch the same episode of Love Boat that I had, so sometimes it didn't go over.
Yeah, I feel like my main exposure to her was that very brief appearance in Airplane as a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a record I did not even know about at all until I started doing the show. That was a heavily requested episode from listeners.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, the Burt Reynolds one. Have you only got one on Burt Reynolds?
Yes,
Yes, just one.
yeah, I believe he only did the one record.
Did
Yeah,
he?
if I remember
Okay,
right.
that is so surprising because I think him doing an album is about the least surprising thing that would ever happen. Um, Burt, R.I.P.
Yeah,
Evil Knievel also passed on. I'm just
hmm
guessing. I bet he's passed.
yeah, I believe he's. I think quite a while ago
Now
actually.
I'm a bit disappointed in you that you've taken a swipe at this entertainment legend, Kiefer Sutherland. How dare you?
There was no swipe taken. I just presented the story.
Tony, I love that you're so straight down the line with this. I think it's tremendous.
Thank you. Again, there's a lot of negativity out there, and it's easy to get sucked into that. So I wanted to try and avoid it.
Speaking of negativity, I was very pleased when I was listening to you on Alison Rosen is my new best friend. And I think that's the only place. But I mean, I've caught you wherever you've been. I think not on all your podcast groups,
Right.
but you were okay about being sad about the lockdown when you felt it was appropriate. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was really buoyed by that. I'm a frontline worker for day jobs, so I didn't have that day to day in the same house. But
hmm
are you bouncing back now?
Boy, I wish I could say I was bouncing back better than I am. It's
Mm.
admittedly still been a struggle. It's been nice things are reopening here, and I've been able to do more, so that's helping a bit. But I think this last year and a half, whatever it's been, I think it's screwed all of us up a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think we're kind of just now fully getting to see how much it did, and maybe even still not even fully realizing it. And yeah, and now we have this Delta variant to worry about. Hopefully, it seems like we'll be okay if we're vaccinated, which I am. Uh, but yeah, it's been tough. Like I was dying to do anything for the last year and a half, and now that I have the opportunity to do things, it's weirdly a struggle to get out and do things sometimes.
What's the murmurings coming out of the Motion City soundtrack camp? Doing anything?
It's well, we have some things scheduled. Yeah, we in September we are playing a couple of festivals. One in Minneapolis. I forget the name of that off the top of my head. Apologies.
Minneapolis Fest? I don't know. I guess I
Yes,
know I made that up.
yes. No, I think that's right. And then we're playing Riot Fest in Chicago like a week later, and then we will be going on tour January of next year. So
That could work.
fingers crossed that all that happens.
You're going to
That's the
have to
plan.
duke it out with the Delta variant. But
Yeah.
for you guys, with your government's been very good about getting people vaccinated. You've done well. You can pat yourself on the back. I know
Well,
not everyone wants to be involved, but
yeah,
I
there's
think
a lot of people still not doing it though. So it's a bit frustrating.
it's not a disease that you want.
No.
And it's definitely not a disease. If you're willing to run the gamut, you definitely don't want a loved one to have it
Mm-hmm.
because it's a
Absolutely.
bummer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of odd compilation albums of people been chucking compilation albums at you. They're not quite as
Here and there,
bizarre as a
yeah.
Burt Reynolds or a Hulk Hogan, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's I guess there's been like a few soundtracks I guess I've done,
Mm.
but I haven't done any compilations that weren't soundtracks. But the people have definitely recommended a few. I know there's I feel like the main one that comes to mind that has been suggested a few times is this came out in like 95 maybe. It's called like Saturday Morning Cartoons, I think, and it's just a bunch of rock bands doing theme songs from old animated shows. So I might get to that someday. But yeah, I don't know. Those sometimes don't excite me quite as much.
No.
I try to make episodes to please everyone, but at the end of the day, honestly, I'm kind of trying to entertain myself. That was why I started it. I was like, I'm going to do this for myself, and I started it, and thankfully people seemed to enjoy it. So I'm just kind of trying to stick to that formula for the most part because it seems to be working all right for me. So
Yeah, a good animated band is the Archies. Probably the best. Although the Beatles were
yeah,
animated,
right, right.
arguably better. I'm
Yes,
an
yeah.
Archies guy. You
That
won't
Archie's
turn me.
record is great. No, I that's one of my favorite records that I covered. That was I think that was like the fourth episode I ever did, and I was aware of them, but I'd never listened to really anything beyond Sugar Sugar at that point. But
Mm.
I like that record. I think there's a lot of good songs there.
A lot of good songwriters involved.
Oh yeah,
And I think Motion City soundtrack would be great animated. There's hair action, there's glasses action,
right.
there's a different range of body types, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It'd be
That's
great.
true.
Yeah.
All right, any animators out there? Come
Oh,
on, give us a call.
got a few thousand hours to spare for no
Yeah.
money. Well, we don't know. We could kickstart it. People are kickstarting things less and less these days. It's all Patreon, which is something that you've certainly set up for yourself, and that's going well.
It's going all right. It's just it seems like a almost a necessity these days, or maybe not a necessity, but just a way to actually try and earn some money off of what you're doing.
Why not? You're entertaining people. You don't
Yeah.
throw on a Motion City soundtrack concert for free. I mean, apart from the charity work that you do occasionally. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because people, I think for the most part, podcasts are just expected to be free now, and unless you get a ton of ads, you're likely not going to make a lot of money off of that. So Patreon is kind of, if people like you enough and they want to support the show, it's a great way to do it.
This is where I expose myself as a bad person. Did not Google this. I think you joined a network. Did you join a network? Do you want to spill the beans now?
There are no beans to spill. No, the show is completely 100% independent, completely me. The only aspect of the show that I did not do is the cover art. So everything else is me.
Oh, you must have been approached, have you?
Not much. I've technically had a talk with at least one, but it just wasn't quite the right fit. I'm not opposed to it, but as of right now, I'm just kind of sticking with what I've been doing.
Matt Belknap's got a good thing going over there.
Yeah.
That could be good. They're good. They're good guys.
Yeah, big fans of those guys.
Absolutely. What's not to like?
Yes.
And you've also got an Instagram and Twitter. No surprises there. We've cleared up the network thing, which I'm so happy. I expose myself as a bad interviewer. Don't Stop or We'll Die has been a recent addition to your life. How long have you been in the band?
It's already been several years. I think I started playing with them in late 2016, maybe 17, but I think it was 16. I was a fan of those guys for years before I started playing with them. And then, unfortunately, Harris Whittles, their former drummer, passed away. And once they started to kind of play a little bit more again, I knew Paul a little bit already, and he reached out to me. They had a show coming up, and their plan was just to be him. And so it's Paul Rust and Michael Cassidy, for anybody who doesn't know. It's very, very silly, weird band. And they were going to just do some shows by themselves, I think just the two of them. And then they asked if I would maybe want to come play a couple of songs with them. And so I did. I was flattered to have been asked. And then after that show, that went well. And then the next time they did it, they asked me to play a couple more. And then the time after that, a few months, it just kind of kept becoming more and more to where it just eventually turned into now I just always play with them.
Fantastic.
And, it's super fun. Yeah, they're great guys. And it's one of the most fun gigs around.
Absolutely. And they brought a little, not a little guitarist, they brought a guitarist in too.
Yeah.
What's that gentleman's name?
His name is Amin Zarukian. He had actually produced, I think, all of their records, at least some of the records. I can't remember if he did the earlier ones as well. So they had known him for a while and worked with him. And I think when it was shortly after I started playing with them, I think a couple shows later, they started having him come. And kind of the same thing. At first, I think it was just a few songs, and then it turned into, all right, well, you just play with us now.
Yeah, you go. Last single, I think, if you can call it that these days, was charting over here because I clicked on a chart for the radio station, and I was going through the bands, DJ Khaled, blah blah blah, your normal suspects, right. And then Don't Stop or We'll Die came up, and I thought, I know that name, but I wasn't expecting to see it inserted in them. So they're charting over here. And,
crazy. That's news to me. I wonder if they know that.
what are charts these days? But it's just mean that you'd been played, streamed more often than some other bands. But I thought, good on those guys.
Yeah, that's fun.
A few more bucks in your pocket, literally a few. Right. We pay 200th of a cent per play over here in Australia. So, they can tally up into not very much money.
Yeah, I can buy myself a piece of gum soon.
So, look, have we missed out anything in the Thaxton sphere?
Oh boy, that's, I guess those are kind of the big ones. I guess, yeah, that's the, I kind of dip my toes in a lot of different things, and those are the main ones. That are worth talking about.
You've definitely been in David Huntsberger's shed, right?
Yes, only once. I just saw David yesterday, though.
Did you? How about that?
Yeah.
How is he looking? Handsome as
He's
ever.
all handsome. Nice short hair now, and
Yes.
looking
I've
good.
encouraged that. I want him to smarten up.
So, how do you know David?
Because I audio edited the Space Cave.
Oh, okay.
So I would edit it and flick it back to David for whatever else he needed to do. And but I don't know whether he's getting back to it. I hope he does.
Yeah, I think he said he was planning on it. He just doesn't. I don't think he knows exactly when, but I think his plan is to go back. I believe I heard him say that.
He's got a show coming out soon. Did he mention the comedy presentation?
I believe so. Oh, is this the thing that he shot quite a while back, like right before COVID, I think?
Oh, everyone's got one in the can before COVID.
Right.
I've got 2 or 3 comedy albums kicking around. Not really. Well, look, we're going to say thanks very much to Tony Thaxton and let him get on with his day. And we're just going to remind people Bizarre Albums is the podcast that you want to be listening to. It's fantastic. There's nothing bad about it. Definitely listen to it.
Thank you.
Emotion City soundtrack, of course, for all your alternative rock needs. And Don't Stop or We'll Die for now all your alternative rock needs also in Australia. They're funny songs.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Yeah. Get ready for some real stupid songs. And I mean that as a compliment. I'm not insulting. I love how just ridiculous and silly it is.
Maybe Paul Rust has got a Bizarre album in his future, just a crooner. Very high. He's got that distinctive voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to stop recording now, Tony.
All right.